Can we just, like... effing... just... this. Holy crap, this scene.
Yeah, the infamous scene that people love to post this with Digimon, and it's like, oh, Digimon's not so child friendly as you remember or whatever.
Yeah. I feel like this is the darkest it's ever got. Because, like, tried really hard to be dark. It did not achieve this.
Try is edgy.
It's like, oh, look, Kari's, like, freaking out or time. No!
And everyone's miserable and doesn't want to... doesn't want to be a Digidestined or whatever.
No, yo, what's really dark? Dead mom.
Dead mothers and, like... So...
It's not as much that it's, like, dead mother as much as it's, like, everyone around Jerry is just straight up like, yep, it's fate, it was gonna happen. Get used to it now, little child.
Yeah, so I feel like this is exaggerated. This is, like, a nightmare version of what she remembers, because she's, like... Well, she's, like, 12 or 10 or something. Like...
Yeah.
Her mother died when she was very young.
So here's the super interesting part, because, like... We start the episode, she's like, you know, having this memory or whatever, and it's like actually confirmed that like this isn't like a dream or something. This is actively how she remembers things being. Because like the D Reaper plays back through her memories, and you see this in reverse really quickly. So it's like, alright, yeah, her seeing the world like this is like canon. This is how she remembers that exactly.
Yeah, obviously it wasn't this scary and surreal in real life, but this is how she remembers it.
Yeah.
It's a dark moment in her life.
It's like distorted through the mind of like a traumatized child.
Hey, guess what? This is, like, admittedly, this is like, oh, female characters are emotionally unstable or whatever. I feel like they did it right here, because it's like, poor Jerry's like 5 or something in this, and so like an experience like this is like, it's bad. I don't know if it would be this severe, like this mentally scarring, but it's like it feels better written than most of the female characters in Try or what's it called, Last Evolution.
Yeah, like there's something really like crazy about being like, oh yeah, yo, you went through a death and like you're told not to like process it in like a healthy way. Like everyone around you is just like, no, yo, just don't cry. This had to happen. And if I remember around the last episode, the evil Jerry even straight up says like, oh yeah, my mother died and I like stopped crying within like 2 days or something. Like, something weird like that, and, yo, like, it's this weird thing where she kind of, like, it seems like she feels, like, guilt over it, but it's also, like, yeah.
She might have said she didn't cry, or, yeah, it was, like, a short time or something. But, yeah, I feel like maybe she's, how do I describe it? Like, she's running past the doctors in her, like, nightmare memory thing, and it's like, they're saying stuff like, it's useless to run and, give up. It's like, it's definitely embellished to be, like, worse than it actually was. But I don't doubt that people were trying to comfort her by telling her, like, oh, try to just move past it or whatever.
Fun fact, spot the point in this episode where the dialogue doesn't include the word fate in, like, these images.
Yeah, you get a lot. You get a lot of like, oh, it's fate, and like scary doctors, the glowing eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's the infamous scene at the end of the nightmare memory where I'm just gonna keep calling it that because
yeah, that's pretty much what, like, holy crap.
Yeah, there's the scene at the end where she runs upon herself as like a weird monster Jerry with like a dog arm puppet. And they're like both got like bulging eyes and sharp teeth, and it's like,
yeah, it's like the dog puppet's got bulging eyes. Like the Jerry it's holding, or like the Jerry attached to it, has no eyes.
Yeah.
And I also want to know is like not only is the puppet like part of her arm, like it's fused with like veins and stuff poking through,
Yeah.
but like I'm pretty sure it's also on the other hand. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. Because she
Wait.
normally has the puppet on her left hand, doesn't she?
Uh, I don't know. It's not something I really paid attention to.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that was a thing. That's like, oh, the puppet's her left hand. This is like, no, so like, even if all of this isn't unsettling enough, the fact that it's on the opposite arm is like unsettling on like a subconscious level, because it's like, it's wrong, but you don't realize why.
Huh.
Like,
Also,
holy crap.
kind of a funny detail that reminded me of. There's the part where Susie's trying to look through Antilamon's eyes to look around, and she's trying to direct Antilamon where to look, and
Yeah.
use look the side where you use your the hand you use your chopsticks with, and Antilamon's like, what? Antilamon's a Digimon. Antilamon doesn't
Yeah.
use
I
Antilamon doesn't use chopsticks.
I like that, like, this is like going back up, so, but it's like, yeah, see where Susie's trying to, like, direct Antilamon. She just keeps saying, no, look over there, look that way. And Antilamon's like, I can't see you. I don't know what you're trying to make me do.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
Susie's like,
it's,
"Stop blinking," and then you cut to a scene where Antilamon blinks, and the view just totally blacks out.
yeah. It's like, it's
And hey,
such a child thing to do to be like, no, but can't you see the direction I'm pointing on the phone?
yeah. Also, I appreciate that the blinking actually cuts off the feed for a second, because that's totally something you don't ever see. Is like when somebody's looking through someone else's eyes, you
Yeah.
never see the point where they blink and you can't see anything for a second.
But yeah, so Nightmare Jerry, right?
Yeah, Bloodborne Jerry.
Oh my gosh. Like, just is there anything else we really want to say about this?
The scene in particular, no, not really. I don't feel like there's anything much. I don't think there's much else to say, because it's like everybody, even people who haven't seen Digimon, have seen this as a point out an example of like, look how much darker Digimon is than like Pokemon or whatever. Never
Yeah.
mind one episode out of the entire series.
I mean, like, just this entire season, really. Like, this entire, like, just all
Yeah,
of.
Tamers has a darker tone in general, but
Like, early on, okay, early on you could be like, alright, well, it's still slapstick and stuff, there's darker ones, but it's still, like, mostly, like, pretty straightforward. Yeah, no, this show took, like, a turn, and it just kept going.
yeah, it just seems disingenuous, I think is the word I'm looking for, to post like the darkest moment and be like, look how dark Tamers is. And it's like, that's one episode. Like everything else is actually pretty tame because it's a kid's show.
Yeah.
Like, for somehow they got the approval to do this scene. And this wasn't censored in the American version, by the way. They let this through.
Yeah, holy crap, they did. Yeah, it's like, I go you mean, man, because it's like, oh, you take the absolute darkest moment in Digimon, where it's like the most nightmare fuel, and you just put that next to, like, just any lighthearted nothing scene in Pokemon, where they're like, feeding the Pokemon, or they're like, Ash is holding Pikachu or something, just anything like that. And it's like, oh, which is more mature,
The
it's
darkest
like, well, yeah,
dark
Digimon still, but yeah.
The darkest Pokemon ever got, as far as I'm aware, is the scene where Ash gets crushed to death by a chandelier.
Wait, when does that happen?
It's the ghost episode, the one where like Ash dies and then like the ghost Pokemon fly around with him for a little while.
Oh, yeah, he does die, doesn't he?
Ash straight up dies.
Oh my god.
Like, he gets crushed to death by a chandelier, and then Gengar and Haunter grab his soul and take him for a little tour.
Yeah.
There's also the scene in the Pokemon movie where Ash dies, and then he's resurrected by Pokemon tears.
Yeah, I think the common thing with that is like both times he comes back.
Yeah. Well, it's Pokemon. Of course he comes back, but he still died.
Leomon ain't coming back.
The Tower of Terror episode, like he died to the point where like they wanted to make it very clear because they pull his soul out of his body.
Oh my gosh. But
But yeah, this is still like significantly more. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Like even without killing someone, it's like, oh, this is legit scary. like if you're a little kid and you saw this scene and it's like, oh man.
Yeah. And like we're only getting further into the eldritch horror as we go, it feels like.
I think this is as quote unquote bad as it gets.
Yeah, it's just like holy crap as it's going to go. But yeah, like you
also doesn't the hand puppet do like a little roaring, like a growling or roaring sound when it talks?
I think it does.
Yeah, on that last moment where it opens its mouth really wide, there's like a roaring sound.
Holy crap.
Or it's like a vicious dog growl.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that was in. I don't know if that was in the dub because I think they still did the goofy puppet voice thing for it.
So sad. What a sad little Digimon.
Like, I think that might be how they tried to soften like that scene, is they made the puppet not sound as scary.
I feel like that just makes it scarier though.
Or it's just like there's nothing different. It's just, oh man.
Well, I'm just talking normally. It's cute little puppet voice. That's like you've like taken this cute thing and made it even more horrifying.
Yeah. So yeah, after that nightmare scene, the kids are riding in a van.
So yeah, the big thing with this episode is that like I think Jerry's dad is very sorry about what he's done and he's trying to help. And
Jerry's dad isn't a bad person. Jerry's dad is bad at expressing himself.
I would
That's what he says. He like basically he says he's awkward. He's not good at expressing himself, and that's why he acts like he doesn't know how to act in these situations. So he kind of like emotionally shuts down.
Yeah, like I had the impression that's like, the way they're trying to paint this is like, oh, he's just tough love and he like doesn't really understand what he's doing, and he's not great at this whole parent thing, he doesn't really get it. I get the impression it's like, I'm sure he means well, like, because there's that point where he's like, oh yeah, he like flashes back to where he says, don't tell my daughter not to go home or whatever, or she can find her own way home. And it's like, you see that and he's like, why'd I say that?
Yeah.
And it's like, he does care, but he's like, he shows it in really like toxic ways.
He's a very strict Japanese businessman type person.
Yeah, because like it kind of does recontextualize things, because if you remember back, like when he goes out to get her, he like just grabs her arm and just yanks her away, and like you see that and it's like, oof. And it's
but having the context of him being like, I don't know how to handle like emotion, like be like emotional stuff, like he was probably taught to never show emotion by his parents or something, and so as an adult he's like it's hard for him. So
yeah,
it's hard to explain. It's kind of like how Rio's father was.
Yeah,
where he's like lashing out at Rio and his Digimon, but then you see him cry like with a tear in his eye or whatever, where it's like, oh, he did care. He's not good at expressing it.
yeah, the intent is there, but it's like, they're trying to like give out discipline or whatever, however you'd phrase it. Like they're trying to like make a message of it or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that's not great. And this kind of like shows a bit because he's like he tries to impart that same type of mentality onto Jerry, where he's like, "Oh, don't cry. It was fate. Your mother was always going to die," and that screws her up.
Which again could have been exaggerated by the nightmare thing. Like, we don't know that he actually was like that at the time. I'd believe it because of how we've seen him act, but it might not have been as bad as her memory is showing.
Yeah, but like I truly believe that like he was 100% like like don't cry. This was meant to happen in one way or another. Like definitely.
Push it down, suppress it.
Yeah, just don't think about it. Just don't feel anything. Be a cold, calculating robot. And then maybe, at some point, you too will be emotionally crippled for life.
Hey, guess what? Maybe this is the reason why Jerry didn't handle Leomon's death very well.
Yeah, like, if
She
you
was
have,
taught
like,
not just taught to bottle it up and don't let it out.
yeah, like, and now that it's, like, it's happening, it's like, she doesn't have a healthy way to deal with death anymore. Like, you've taken it from her, basically. Like all those mechanisms of like just like let out and just feel bad, like all this stuff, like it's not in place, like the safeguards aren't there, so she's just goes depressed and like just falls into this depression with it all, where she's just like, I just don't care anymore, just let the world burn, I don't want to feel like this.
Oh, this is what was supposed to happen, I guess. Time to
Yeah,
fall into a depression.
like it was fated to happen. There's no stopping it. Just no point in anything. Just screw everyone. And like the D Reaper latches onto that, and it's like, yeah, like we should destroy everything. That
Ah,
sounds like
this
a good idea to me.
this is what humanity is like. Time to erase it.
Yeah. Well, it's at the impression it's like it's less like, oh, he's destroying this because of Jerry or whatever, as much as it's like the D Reaper is like understands Jerry's whims. And it's like, yeah, yeah, we should destroy this. Cause like Anna, it's a weird, complicated thing, but it's just so interesting. And speaking of like things that are just really crazy and super interesting, uh, yeah, this
Because
big Lovecraft, huge Lovecraft monsters going on here.
yeah, I was gonna say on a happier note, they're making modifications to the arc that saved the kids, and they give it cool dragon wings and a dragon head
Man,
and like
is
a tail. They turn it into they basically turn it into an actual Digimon.
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, meanwhile, like, is this might be the most Lovecraftian thing in the entire series, and this is a series with an actual Lovecraftian episode where they like reference Cthulhu.
Do they?
Yeah, cause Dagomon. Cause he's like a big squid monster with bat wings that just hangs out in the dark ocean.
Wait, Dagomon's in this episode?
No, I was talking about like season 2.
Oh. Okay.
I've said it's like this feels more Lovecraftian than like the Dagomon episode.
Hmm. Okay. By the way, are you aware of how sci-fi and whatnot has decided how teleportation works?
How like like sci-fi the channel or like science fiction in general?
Science fiction in general, like Star Trek and whatnot.
Yeah, implications on that aren't amazing.
Digimon Tamers straight out says it. The original information is destroyed, and only the transferred information remains.
Yeah, that's pretty nutty considering everything we've seen so far.
Hey, guess what? These aren't the original kids from the beginning of Tamers.
Oh my god, you're right.
Neither are their Digimon.
Cause like, I guess that means all of them were destroyed and remade as soon as they like went back to the real world in the Ark. Holy crap.
Yeah, because like they were teleported and transported into data. So there goes those original versions. And then they rode back to the real world, so they would have had to have realized in the process. So those versions are dead too.
We are 2 Takados removed from the original Takado.
For all intents and purposes, it's the same Takado mentally and like, but I'm not even probably not physically because it's a recreated Takado from the old one's memories.
Come at us, Takado is dead theories. It's already canon.
I wouldn't bring up such a goofy thing if teleportation kills the original body and creates a new you, and that's the one that carries on is the new person. But they just straight up say it in this episode.
Yeah, that's totally just how it works.
Like Shibumi is like, hey, okay, so this is how realization works.
Yeah, it's like in that context, it does kind of make more sense, I guess. I know it's such a weird like thing to just throw out there, because I guess they did become data in the digital world, but then they became flesh and blood again. So they realized into bodies that were made of not data through the digital world.
Well, it recreated them upon transport.
Yeah, alright. Man, just thank goodness the Ark didn't like hit a bump while going back, you know? Everything you're like already in the process of making just gets moved down an inch. Oh no.
Yeah. Stepping away from that topic, there is a point where Susie's like trying to get people's attention. And it's like there's that big round thing and there's something important or whatever. And finally someone acknowledges her and like, yeah, we noticed that too. Like there totally is something important there. And then like Susie looks at her dad with like a really smug expression. Like she's like, ha, I was right.
Yeah. But yeah, also at some point Rio gives Susie a tamer card.
That was in the previous episode.
Yeah. But yeah, like effing man, this design, right? It's like no eyes, all mouths for head, just tentacles everywhere. It's just like not sure what to do, so it like just sends down a tentacle with like a video camera. And it's like, oh, who is this guy? And it like realizes that it's like Jerry's dad. And the D Reaper starts freaking out because it doesn't understand the concept of like a parent.
Yeah. Somebody says that Digimon don't have a concept of parents and children, but that's not right because we see a village of adult and child mud Frigimon.
Yeah, I guess they're not necessarily their children. They're just part of the same group, but yeah.
The Digivolution lines also are called child adult.
Yeah. Bigger point, though, is that, like, effing the D-Reaper itself is just so detached from, like, you know, humanity that, like, it doesn't get, like, what parental bond is.
Yeah.
And, like, it not only does it not get it, but, like, yo, like, as soon as it tries to, like, figure it out, it becomes, like, scared and upset at it, because it does understand it. So it's like, it's afraid. And it's like, oh, I must destroy this thing then.
Also, before we even get to that part, there's a scene where Justimon is like hiding from the agents, and you hear the voice of Cyberdramon going, "I want to fight him," and Rio's like, "No, we can't." Cyberdramon's still in there, like desperately wanting to fight, and Rio has to hold him back.
Oh, jeez. Man, like, it's... For what their dynamic is, Justimon does not feel like an apt Digivolution.
It is kind of a weird jump from, like, cyber monster that wants to kill everything, or when I say kill everything, I mean kill evil, because it is a vaccine type. Like, as violent and aggressive as Cyberdramon is, its targets are always evil.
Yeah, well, it feels like they should have become like an edgier Digimon of some kind that's also like, oh yeah, just destroy everything, and Rio's actively fighting to keep it under control. That would have honestly been way more interesting if it was like an active thing.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense for it to go from Cyber Dragon to Common Rider Man.
Man, like, this would make no sense, but what if, like, Cyberdramon's biomerge was just effing Millennium Mon?
Wouldn't that be the opposite? Like, isn't that its enemy?
Maybe, but its enemy might also be inside itself. Because I think that's what the whole deal was.
Like, the only connecting factor between Cyberdramon and Justimon is that they both have, like, a big face shield thing.
Man, I'm trying to think of, like, what would be, like, a better biomerge.
I mean, I feel like you'd have to come up with something new.
I don't know, like, maybe Dynasmon or something? And I could kind of see Dynasmon working. Because, like, then you'd still have those dragon elements.
Dynasmon.
Like, you'd have the dragon elements, but at the same time, it'd be, like, humanoid, and it'd be, like, white because Rio's in control now. It's
also a data type, so its typing doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but screw that. I feel like we've had, like, typings change before or whatever.
I mean, it happens like the Digimon games, but between canon evolutions, their typing doesn't change.
Doesn't it?
Not that I know of.
Cause, like, isn't, like, Melgreymon Blue and, like, Skullgreymon virus types, but, like, Greymon's vaccine?
Those aren't like canon. Like, when I say canon evolution, I mean Agumon, Greymon, Metal Greymon, War Greymon.
So, like, what's the canon evolution of Antilamon?
Cherubimon.
But which one?
The good one. Dark Cherubimon is a corruption, like Blue Metal Greymon.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so, like,
canonically, Antilamon's final form is good Cherubimon.
Yeah, because, man, there has to be something that, like, changes, like, attributes or whatever. Like, I'm pretty sure there's, like, something like that. Because, like, I don't know, I'm thinking back, it's like, is Gallantmon virus type?
Yes.
Okay, alright.
Gallantmon is still a virus type despite its appearance.
You know, fair enough then, I guess.
Yeah. I will double check that to make sure, though, because
yeah.
I said that I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a virus type.
Alright, but yeah. So basically it's like Gallantmon the Rs take down this Eldritch Mouth abomination of just holy crap.
Not at first, they don't. Apparently Gallantmon can't fly, which is surprising to me.
Wasn't that the other one where he had to, like, fly to beat it?
No, it happens, like, right at the end of this episode.
No, I mean against this character, this specific agent.
Wait, what?
The one on screen right now on the stream, dude. The one we're talking
Right.
about.
Yeah, all the mouths. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they killed this one.
Yeah, and then they have to flat beat the giant one.
Yeah, then it makes a bigger agent.
Yeah, I feel like that's the one problem I kind of have with this series right now, is that it's like, you know, the D-Reaper's a threat, but like the agents don't feel like that big of a threat most of the time.
Well, the threat is that the D-Reaper can seemingly endlessly make these. So you kill one, and it just makes a bigger one.
I mean, like, you say that, but at the same time, it's like, it feels like, you know, because we have, like, a team full of, like, megas, it's like, we're taking a lot of these things out pretty easily, honestly. But yeah, it doesn't feel like as big of a deal, really.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, like, the D-Reaper is trying to overwhelm them with sheer numbers.
I get what you're saying, but it doesn't really work when they keep cutting them down in one hit.
And every time they cut it down, it gets bigger.
Yeah, then, like, who cares?
Well, then
it's like, oh, we can't fly over to kill this thing, and they get the power of flight, and they kill it.
Yeah, and then it creates a form around its kernel that they can't beat.
I don't think that really counts because it's like a barrier.
It's a physical entity. It has like an eyeball and like counter attacks at them and stuff.
And it feels like the agents could have been a bigger deal. Like, it feels like we're killing a lot of these things very effortlessly.
It's adapting.
Yeah, and it's not doing a great job at it so far.
Whenever monsters like this in media like get stronger by adapting, yeah, they don't start off immediately strong.
I'm not saying that they do, obviously, but it's like, oh, we're just gonna take out 2 of its boss forms in a row. All right, like, doesn't exactly make me that like afraid of this thing, you know? Like, it's not the same as me being like, oh man, like, all those little, like, agents on the street should be kicking Gallantmon around or some crap. Like, obviously no. But it's like, yeah, we just keep blowing through these bigger boss forms, and it's like, oh, I guess that gorilla form was just the strongest thing it had then. Alright.
Well, keep in mind, they beat the gorilla form thing without, like, a significant, like, power-up. Gallantmon beats the second form of this thing because he gains flight and is able to, like, get around it quickly.
I mean, like, is flight even really that significant of a power-up?
I get, apparently so, because they couldn't beat it until they got it.
Yeah, they literally couldn't reach the cable. That's, like, the only problem here.
I am still baffled that Gallantmon can't fly.
Yeah, you'd really think he'd be able to do that.
Like, he doesn't have wings or anything, but look at him.
Yeah. All the other megas can fly. Like, Justimon, well, I'm pretty sure Justimon can fly.
Sakuyamon can fly.
Yeah. Like, this problem could have been solved by, like, Sakuyamon trying to throw Gallantmon up there or something. Or, like, heck, just ride on Mega Gargamon. Like, he's a big effing guy. He could, like, carry you up there. And this thing's not exactly moving around a lot.
That reminds me of one of the cooler, like, moments from the original series, where Gatomon is fighting alongside Angemon, and Angemon is, like, carrying Gatomon around. Like, Gatomon is riding on Angemon, and they're, like, tag teaming stuff.
Yeah. Man, that stuff's always super cool.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Gatomon's small and can't fly, so of course they combine their abilities to fight stuff off.
Of course. But yeah, so offing, like, what was this thing? Granny? Yeah, Granny. Zero Arms Granny is what the arc turns into. So this thing's just the arc. This, like, turned the arc into a dragon and suited up with, like, Chrome Digizoid.
this cool dragon thing,
Yeah, so Gamon has a mount now.
and it's super cool.
Yeah, honestly, that's the big takeaway. Like, as lame as it is that, like, they one-shot this, like, effing agent because they couldn't fly before and now they can, like, Granny is a cool addition to the team. I
Yeah,
love that the arc is actually getting play again.
yeah, and it's cool because they establish early on that they establish early on that the arc is alive.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, of course. It's like, oh, it's basically a computer program in the digital world, so they can just modify it from a computer. And so they give it wings and a dragon head, and like a really cool red and yellow like paint job.
Yeah. I'll probably, like, it does start out like this weird gray color because it's like gray and yellow or whatever. And
Right.
like Gatmon connects to it as it realizes, and it like becomes red.
Yeah, yeah. It starts off like white.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it changes colors to match them.
Yeah, when it's trying to realize, they're like, oh, it's missing something. It can't realize, and then Gallantmon like connects to it or something.
Oh
Or
man.
Gallantmon gives it life, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it, you know? But yeah, they're called... Yeah.
Also, I looked up the origin of Garani, and in the show they say, oh crap, it's mentioned here too. Yeah, so the wiki for Grani says that it's the horse of the hero Sigurd, not Siegfried.
Yeah, there might be like some translation stuff going on.
But yeah, I bring it up because I was looking on the wiki, and it under modern influence, it mentions Digimon Tamers.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, directly stated, episode 47, that it was named by its creators after Siegfried's horse, Grani. Siegfried is something I can click on, so let's see if that's just like a
I think Siegfried is like yeah.
Thing. Okay, it's like the German name for him.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. So they didn't get it wrong. It's just strange that they didn't use the original name, Sigurd, and they use Siegfried.
Yeah, it might be like an effing like, you know, like subtitle thing, honestly.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm pretty sure they said Siegfried in the episode.
Yeah, whatever.
Pretty sure they said it out loud. It doesn't matter. Gallantmon knight with a lance now has a cool like dragon steed.
This dragon horse. Yeah, so like they defeat the effing agent, and they're like, okay, yeah, done. You know, they're like, all right, yeah, we need to upgrade Sigurd, or sorry, not Sigurd. We need to upgrade Granny further, but like this is gonna work for now.
Yeah, they bring it back to the hangar, and they're like, okay, let's give it even more power-ups, because we can do that. It's digital, we just give it more powers.
Man, I like that so much, because it's like, yo, they bring it back to the hangar, they just mentioned vaguely like, oh yeah, we gave it upgrades. And it's like, oh hey, we just put the Ugoth cannon in this thing.
Yeah, it's like, hey, remember that thing that was a problem for a while? Well, here, it's not a problem anymore, and now it's a good guy weapon.
Remember that weapon that Hypnos used to, like, potentially nuke cities and or erase entire Digimon? We could just shoot that now.
Yeah.
Because of course you'd be able to use it.
Also, when they're going to realize Grani, Shibumi pulls out a blue card and does like a card slash.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh man, that's great.
This random like old guy with a beard just it like does it like Henry does it too, like he does the like 3 motions.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, he's the guy who was like unconscious and living in the digital world for a while. So it's like, oh yeah, of course you would want to have fun and do it like this.
Man, I do want to briefly mention before we move on to the final episode of the night, like 48, that like it is like crazy but also weirdly logical that like the Digivices in this show just have USB ports.
Yeah, because they originated off of like card scanners.
Well, no, because they're like based off the arcs, right? Which were like man-made, weren't they?
Yeah.
So it's like, of course they have little like USB ports in them. So he just hooks up and he's like, oh yeah, time to like realize Granny.
I don't know. I thought it was more so that like they were formed out of like card readers and stuff, or like
Yeah, that might be the
Henry's
case too.
Henry's was formed out of an external thing connected to his computer.
Yeah. Either way, it is cool that like the Digivices can just directly connect with like computers and stuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, we had like reprogrammed the Digivices or like mess with the code or whatever if we really want to.
Yeah, in this case, I think he says they're copying the Digivice's program.
Yeah. You could mod your Digivice.
Probably, yeah.